the big story coming out of these elections, quite a humdinger, not the slam dunk that many thought it would be. BJP definitely coming back in Maharashtra, looks like, but in Haryana, let's put those numbers up on the screen. It is in play. Haryana heading at the moment, it would appear, is it heading to a hung situation? Now the BJP is at 40, the Congress at 30. So it's going back and forth. But the kingmaker could well turn out to be Dushyant Chuatla of the JJP. This is what Dushyant Chuatla just told us a short while ago.
सर क्या कांग्रेस से आपकी बातचीत चल रही है क्या? एक खबर
मेरी सिर्फ एनडीटीवी आज तक एएनआई से बातचीत चल रही है, किसी और से नहीं।
कहीं से कोई बातचीत
मेरी किसी से बात।
लेकिन जो रिजल्ट देख रहे हैं उससे उत्साहित कितनी से?
बहुत खुशी।
Okay, I think that was all on the trot, but what Dushyant Chuatla was saying is that the talk that he's in talks with various parties is only running on various channels. It's not entirely clear whether he is indeed in the middle of those negotiations, but certainly it's turning out to be a very interesting picture in Haryana. And let's just take a look now at Maharashtra as well, where Devendra Fadnavis in all likelihood set to come back as Chief Minister, but not with the kind of emphatic margin that they would have liked. They are at 161, down by 24. The Congress and the NCP at 91. And the underperformers in both these alliances, BJP is the underperformer in its alliance and the Congress is the underperformer in the Congress-NCP alliance. Nidhi.
Well, just taking a look at these numbers, Jeeves, what's the big takeaway for you from these numbers?
Well, I mean, the big takeaway is that, there's only one truth that holds in Indian politics is, the element of surprise. People are surprised when they win, people are surprised when they lose. If you go by, the way campaigns were fought, I mean, a couple of hours ago we were here, basically agreeing this is slam dunk, and the question is, how much.
Don't say that. So, don't remind people.
Let's be honest. But what we see is that voters hold the key of the election, because it's too early, we don't really know, but in Haryana I don't see that something that the Congress did in particular in the campaign is what led to that surge. It comes from voters.
Right. I actually wanted to ask you that, Nalini and Sagrika, that do we tend to not give voters as much credit as we should, because this constant assumption that they would be swayed by matters which don't matter to them, like Desh Bhakti, nationalism, Article 370,
it's condescending.
may not turn out to be the case.
Yeah, I think that the voters were absolutely very intelligently decided that some people were overplaying some cards, and that they had humiliated them, or they had done them nothing which was called development, or their lives had not improved. Ease of living was certainly not something that they experienced.
Yeah.
So then they said also that they are not listening to us. So then they are the ones who got together. Vasu, I told you yesterday on this show, on your show, that actually the heroes of this election are the voters. Yeah. And it is they who have made this switch. And I think even if you look at, even if it freezes here, just now in Haryana at 41 and 29, it's still a switch. About 50% of the voters have undergone a churn.
Yeah.
They voted for somebody and then voted.
On the word invincible. As just to add to what Nalini is saying, the word invincible is attached to the BJP, that this is an invincible machine and an invincible juggernaut. In fact, I've been using it relentlessly over the last 2 days on your shows.
So this shows that actually there are cracks.
No, I think where the opposition or where the issues are localized or where local issues come into play, there the BJP is vulnerable. Yeah. When the BJP is able to successfully make it a national election, there the BJP has no competition.
And the young ones decided, I think the young ones...
Just a quick news update, couple of news updates that we'd like to bring you all up to date on. One is that Mr. Khattar has been called to Delhi by the BJP leadership. That's one. So clearly things in Haryana are playing out very quickly. We know that both the BJP and the Congress are trying to reach out to the JJP, as you said, Vasu. So the BJP wasting no time. They've called Mr. Khattar here to Delhi. The other interesting thing that has happened is that Home Minister and BJP President Amit Shah has cancelled one of his events today as in his capacity as Home Minister, which was an ITBP function. He has cancelled that suddenly. So one can assume that is because the developments in these two states, in Haryana in particular, will overtake any official engagement at the moment. Dorab, you're looking at those numbers even more closely. What do these numbers tell you, particularly so soon after the Lok Sabha elections, where you had this thumping win for the BJP, and the fact that the vote share seems to have come down for them?
The power of Mr. Modi and the power of Balakot and Pulwama, and
but you had
the cultural issues
just now.
and the 370. Somebody said, Jill said, 370 is an issue, but probably it's not a really day-to-day. It's not a national issue to you. I mean, in Maharashtra, people know there's 370 and whatever, but it's not like Pulwama, it's not like Balakot. It's not also the religious card was used. These cards, I think, cultural cards are much more important than nationalism was the main issue. I think, a small skirmish last week doesn't make people change their vote. And Mr. Modi, they were voting for Mr. Modi to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Now they're not voting. Like in Patnaik's case, they voted for Modi for the national election and Patnaik for the two strong leaders. We are voting for leaders.
Right.
Those leaders are not relevant to us now. Less relevant.
Except
I tell you, without Mr. Modi, it would have been really tough.
The only thing I know, and Smita Gupta is here with us, she's a veteran journalist and commentator. Smita, I mean, if that was the case, the fact is that the BJP's campaign was entirely centered around national issues. It was entirely centered around nationalism, 370 and everything else. And you really didn't... NRC.
Citizenship Amendment
all of
Bill.
that. None of the, I don't recall them talking about PMC in Maharashtra, the economic crisis at all. I mean, I'm talking about the national leaders here. So, if the BJP saw that people were sort of divorcing state elections from national elections, then why were they campaigning on national elections? They clearly thought that it would help them.
I think they felt that if they focused on local issues, they would do even worse. Because if you look at last year's Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, I mean, the Congress, I mean, okay, they had been in power in 2 states for 3 terms and 1 for 2 terms. But the BJP lost those elections just 5 months before they swept the Lok Sabha.
Yeah.
So clearly local issues do resonate on the ground. I mean, that is the lesson that we can take from this election. And I think the BJP was well aware that if the local elections took priority, then they would perhaps do even worse.
I think perhaps there are a couple of takeaways that we can derive from what is happening. One is, I think this is showing that there is a limit to the BJP's attempt to play the nationalism card. That somewhere along the line that will hit the speed breaker of the economy and more bread and butter issues. Number 2, what we possibly are seeing in Haryana and Maharashtra could be that the traditional dominant caste, which the BJP had managed to win over to some extent, whether it's the Jats in Haryana or whether it's the Marathas in Maharashtra, are perhaps returning more to the traditional parties that have cultivated them, whether it's the NCP in Maharashtra and now it seems the JJP in Haryana.
Do you know, Vasu, how correct. And also just going back to 370, it's been reported that farmers in Haryana said, so now we can buy land in Jammu Kashmir. Hey, listen, we can't buy land in Rajasthan where it's so much cheaper because we don't have the money.
Right.
So what do we gain from this buying the land in Jammu Kashmir if that's coming?
I guess one thing, Vasu, the main issue is that here is a government, both the governments, Maharashtra and Haryana, are facing heavy forces. It's a 5-year performance, and normally in a 5-year performance you have some amount of anti-incumbency. Well, the big question, if I'm going to ask as a BJP man, how have we faced this election or fared in this election, which is the test? I think we have been able to overcome the anti-incumbency forces clearly and convincingly in both the states.
Not clearly in Haryana, Vivek.
Well,
in
Haryana
Maharashtra,
about
you could make that case, but not in Haryana.
Haryana about 3 or 4 less.
Yeah.
But still, 3 or 4 less is not going to change the overall equation on the performance. Now, where do we trace that performance to? Are we saying this performance is totally of Mr. Modi, or is it not the state local participation?
It does make a difference.
I think the state local participation or the state performance is in focus and perspective, and they have done pretty well in retaining.
Okay, let's actually go out, I think, Nidhi, to reporters on OBs. I think we've got Mohammad Ghazali with us. He's outside the residence of Manohar Khattar. Saurabh Gupta is also joining us from Matoshri, the residence of the Thackeray Parivar. So, first Ghazali, to you, that now far perhaps from the kind of Laddu Pataka scene that we might have expected by now, it appears that Mr. Khattar is actually being summoned to Delhi.
Yeah, he is planning to leave to Delhi to meet Amit Shah and JP Nadda there. But what we have heard about the Congress JJP thing is that they are negotiating, and also one more important thing is that BJP is also trying to reach out to JJP through the Badals in Punjab, because Prakash Singh Badal was trying to mediate between OP Chuatla and INLD JJP, Dushyant Chautala's family. So BJP is also trying to keep that option open, that if they really fall short of fewer seats, they can also negotiate with JJP to form the government in Haryana. So maybe these are all the discussions which they want to pursue, while the Chief Minister has been called to Delhi to meet Home Minister and Amit Shah there in New Delhi for a meeting.
Right. Well, clearly the behind the scenes, whatever's going on as far as government formation in Haryana is concerned, that's going to be the key thing to watch out for. Saurabh, there at at Matoshri. Saurabh, from the Shiv Sena's point of view, this has actually gone really well. Are they going to really push for Aditya Thackeray to be Deputy Chief Minister now?
Well, let me put that to an enthusiastic Sainik who's turned up here. फूल लेके आए हैं, अभी तक तो results declare नहीं हुए हैं, लेकिन क्या उम्मीद है?
रिजल्ट डिक्लेयर होने में टाइम नहीं है. मोर देन 50% जो रिजल्ट है वो डिक्लेयर हो चुके हैं. इससे साफ होता है कि जो शिवसेना और भाजपा की सरकार है वो वापस एक बार महाराष्ट्र में काबिज होने जा रही है.
लेकिन भाजपा की सीट कम हुई है, थोड़ा शिवसेना के बारे में बात करिए.
शिवसेना पिछले बार से काफी अच्छा,
ज्यादा सीट्स मांगेंगे, ज्यादा मिनिस्टरियल बर्थ मांगेंगे शिवसेना.
नहीं, इस तरीके से तो जो हमारे अपर अधिकारी है या हमारे जो आदित्य ठाकरे इस बार तो उन्होंने जो ओपनिंग पारी खेली है वो पूरा हिंदुस्तान याद रखेगा इस बार. और एक युवा है उनमें, और हमारे जैसे युवाओं में उनकी जो विजन है फ्यूचर को लेके वो काफ़ी जोश बढ़ता है, और उसके वजह से हम जो काम करने के लिए और उनके सोच के विचार से.
बट आदित्य ठाकरे को आप क्या चाहते हैं? आप लोग डिमांड करेंगे कि उसको डिप्टी सीएम या ऐसा कुछ बनाए?
देखिए, ये तो उनके ऊपर छोड़ते हैं, हम निर्णय लेने वाले नहीं हैं. हम उनको देखना चाहेंगे जरूर. उन्होंने खुद अपना मत साफ किया है कि फ्यूचर में, अभी तो फिलहाल उन्होंने एक ओपनिंग की है, फ्यूचर में देखेंगे कैप्टनशिप
किसके लिए लाए.
ये हम आदित्य ठाकरे साहब के लिए लाए हैं, और जो उन्होंने लाखों मतों के ऊपर से अभी वो विजय करने वाले हैं, और हम उदय साहब ठाकरे का भी आशीर्वाद लेने आए हैं.
ठीक है, थैंक यू वेरी मच. आप जाइए. सो बेसिकली सैनिक्स आर नाउ बिगिनिंग टू टर्न अप गिवन द फैक्ट दैट दीज रिजल्ट्स सीम टू बी in some way going in favor of the Shiv Sena. One more thing that I spoke.
All right, we just lost Saurav there from outside Matoshri, but let's also try and see if we can pull up the personalities, graphics for both the states, starting with Maharashtra, because there are some pretty big heavyweights, particularly in Maharashtra, and both states actually, we're told, who are somewhat in trouble. Just look at that. Dhananjay Munde is actually gaining in parley against Pankaja Munde, his cousin. So the battle of the Munde Parivar.
Pankaja Munde wasn't running for Chief Ministership of Maharashtra. She's been trying very hard.
At one point.
Yeah.
So in parley, in drought hit Marathwada, which is sort of the bead, this is the stronghold of the Munde family. She is not doing very well. Ashok Chavan is leading in Bhokar and Nanded, ex-Chief Minister. So that is good news for them. Aditya Thackeray is leading in Worli in Maharashtra. So is he the Deputy Chief Minister? Of course, Devendra Fadnavis is comfortable in his seat of Nagpur Southwest, and that should be a cause for concern. Look at that, Chhagan Bhujbal.
He's very strong in that area.
He's very North Maharashtra.
In fact, he was on the point of going to the BJP when it heard.
But he was in jail.
Yes.
I mean, he just virtually had been written off.
Yeah.
But he's not doing too badly.
Nitesh
Rane there in Kankavli. He's gaining after crossing over to the BJP. Prithviraj Chavan is leading from his bastion of Karad south of the Maratha heartland. So, as we can keep looking at the other heavyweights from Maharashtra, that's quite a roster. But I think one interesting thing, Nidhi, if you see, is that when this whole talk of dynasty, when you're looking at the heavyweights, it's now the two parties, they're all dynasts across parties.
Yeah.
So this whole idea that one is more dynast than the other.
In fact, you've got great figures on that.
So we have data that shows that the phenomenon is widespread, prevalent across parties, that the BJP is no exception, particularly in Maharashtra. So it is a feature of Indian politics. It is one of the criteria on the basis of which candidates are selected. And it's also a reflection that the power often, derive from the ground, and the kind of hold that those leaders, can have, in their constituencies.
Except that the top leadership of the BJP is not dynastic.
All right, I just want to go across to
Very
Mr.
top.
Ashwini
Yes.
Kumar
Leader
of
is
the
not a
Congress
dynasty.
party, the former law minister
That's
of
the
India,
difference.
senior leader of the Congress party.
It is a difference.
Mr.
Big
Kumar,
difference.
your thoughts first today on as you see the picture emerging in both states. Many are saying that the Congress has done all right despite itself.
The National Party.
Here it is frozen.
Well, there are three takeaways from the election results. Clearly, in both the states, the Congress-led opposition is on the resurgence. It is also clear that the elections were fought on local issues, and the credit for the performance of the Congress must go to the local leadership of this party in Haryana and in Maharashtra, and the able management of the internal issues of the organization by Srimati Sonia Gandhi. It is also clear to me that the voter is wise, and no government or party should ever take the voter confidence for granted. Quite clearly, the morality of democratic mandate in Haryana, at least, demands that a non-BJP government be installed. We have also seen from Karnataka that when the chief ministership is offered to a party with lesser numbers, there are contradictions. Therefore, consistent with the democratic mandate, the largest opposition party in the state ought to be offered the chief ministership. Mr. Dushyant Chuatla has done well. He has age on his side. He will clearly play a very significant and a constructive role. I think whatever may be the constitutional position of inviting the single largest party to form the government, as is being debated on some of the TV channels, and that may well be true in the first instance,
yes,
that the numbers in Haryana clearly tell a story, and the story is that it will be a non-BJP government
No, but
in the
Ashwini,
state.
Ashwini
In
Kumar, sorry.
Maharashtra,
Ashwini Kumar,
Congress
sorry.
has done well.
Ashwini Kumar, before you come to Maharashtra, how would you make that claim? Because if you look at the picture at the moment, the BJP is at 42. That's just 3 seats away from a halfway mark. Congress is at 27, JJP is at 12. So,
well,
both constitutionally, ethically, morally,
well, if they
don't they have the first dibs to be able to stake claim to form a government?
Yeah.
No.
They don't.
No, if they have a majority of their own, certainly they must form the government. But if they fall short of the majority, please do not forget that the decline of the BJP shows that the popular vote in Haryana is against the party. But in case they get a majority of their own, certainly. But I think even though the mandate is fractured in favor of the opposition, if the opposition were to come together on the basis that the people have actually voted against the ruling party, then consistent with the morality of democratic politics, they should join hands. Whether they are able to do so or not on account of vanities or other issues, that's another matter.
No pre-alliance.
But this is Ashwini Kumar, exactly what happened in Karnataka.
But clearly,
this is what
BJP
happened in
has a difficult job.
Karnataka, and look at how that ended.
Yeah.
Yes, you are right. That's why I said the mistake in Karnataka was that we gave the chief ministership to a party with far lesser numbers than the Congress party. That is not the mistake we should be doing in Haryana. I think the leader of the Congress with the largest number of seats
Well, the Congress
ought
is
to be
rejected
given
at 28
the
as of
position
now.
of the chief ministership. Clearly, Mr. Bhupinder
rejected party
Singh
cannot stake a
Hooda
claim.
is the man of the moment, and I'm sure Mr. Dushyant Chuatla, who has age on his side, will be able to see the logic of supporting Mr. Hooda.
Well, it's nice that you're carrying out those negotiations on national TV. I think that bodes well for how it's going to go behind
Already
the scenes.
the government
Ashwini
in
Kumar.
Haryana, coalition government has been
I can
formed.
see exactly. And with these conditions that it has to be the Congress.
Nidhi, in democratic politics, there's nothing behind the scenes and off the scenes. Everything is out in the open. People who are there know what is happening. We know what is happening. The idea is BJP would try to keep the non-BJP parties out. Congress and others will try to keep the BJP out. And we know what the arithmetic is. So, well, politics is the game of the possible, isn't it?
Except that I'm asking you, you're a lawyer, you've been the law minister. Legally, what is the position? Should the single largest party not be first called to form a government? Is that not what is normally done?
Well, that has been the precedent. The leader of the single largest party in the first instance has a right to be asked to form the government, but it has also happened in the past that the leader of the single largest party, knowing that eventually it will not be able to muster the numbers, has declined the invitation. But even if the leader of the single largest party is invited to form the government, he will have to prove the majority on the floor of the House, and they would know whether the number are packed in their favor or not. I think rather than suffer a defeat on the floor of the House, one can do better than decline. But if they are confident that they will be able to muster support, then certainly they will accept the invitation.
One second, Dorab wants to come in.
Comes all the time, and I thought last time we discussed, and Harish Salman in London said what I said was right. It is not a legal issue. It is what is the sovereign, the president or the governor's role to form a stable government. Do you know that in Italy, the lower house is 630 members. The prime minister, he's an independent. He called because he could form a government. That's the only thing that matters. There's nothing else that matters. The job of a sovereign or the president or governor is to form a stable government.
Fair.
Whoever comes to him and says, look, I can form a stable government if, for instance, the Akalis go and say, look, we've got the Congress and JJ backing us. We will form the government. That is his role. Please, this is not a legal issue. This is not a legal issue. Please, Mr. Reddy, Mr.
That is a protocol.
There's no protocol. That's the Venkataraman Convention.
I have an example of that.
How does the governor go about testing?
No, but this happened when Mufti Mohammad Said became the chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir. The National Conference at that time was the single largest party. But the PDP and the Congress came together. The PDP only had 16 seats in that 81-member assembly, and they came together, even though the National Conference was the single largest party.
And it's not a legal issue.
So he's right. There is a
precedent.
There is a precedent, even if you don't have the single largest party. I just want to go across to Clyde Crasto of the NCP, who's joining us from Mumbai. And Clyde, in the good time-honored tradition of speculating and putting rumors out there, I would like to do the following and tell you there is a rumor that the Congress NCP is willing to back the Shiv Sena to lead the government in Maharashtra. Is there any truth in that?
That's a good one.
Clyde is just laughing at this point. He doesn't want to answer that. Just laughing.
No. I'll answer you, Vasu. But but Nidhi coming up, bringing a surprise on me. That's what making me laugh. I'll tell you what. I've been on so many debates with you, and you guys have been much kinder, but there are a lot of other channels that actually virtually wrote us off as non-existent and everything. But look at this. We are almost about 13 or 14 seats more leading than what we got last time around. And so I kept saying that the ground reality is different, and the people are actually going through a lot of problems in Maharashtra, and this is what it's showing. I mean, from being virtually called non-existent to we are like leading in 53 seats. I think we've understood the pulse of the people. We've gone down and spoken to the people, and this is what the results are coming out. And there is a message. There's a message from the people to the incumbent government that we are not happy. That's why they're despite the fact that they're in an alliance, the BJP Shiv Sena are losing so many seats. The BJP themselves from 122 up, in some channels are showing about 105. So I think the people are not happy, and that's what these results are projecting.
But Clyde, at the end of the day, the BJP has won this election. I mean, let's not lose sight of that, right? I mean, it almost appears that they haven't, but they have.
No, see, Vasu, there are two things to this. You cannot take it away from them. Obviously, they won this election, no doubt about that. But the narrative that was set, they kept talking 225 plus, and we will get more than 144 seats, and the people are very happy with us. We've done a lot of
Clyde, with all respect, everyone talks up. That's politics. You always talk up your numbers.
I understand. See, no, but there is politics and there's bravado. There are two different aspects altogether, and they went beyond all that.
I mean,
okay, and when you say there's no opposition at all, and when you have the opposition springing up such numbers, that means you're playing delusional politics, and the people do not like delusional politics.
But Clyde, having said that, are you disappointed in the way the Congress, the Congress's lack of fight, frankly, in Maharashtra? Are you disappointed that your ally, frankly, seemed to be all over the place, and you could have done better if the Congress even pretended it was fighting in Maharashtra? I think the Congress is more shocked with the numbers today in both states than even the BJP is.
No, I'll tell you what. See, that's the narrative that has been going around. But Congress has worked hand in hand with us throughout, Okay, we've been working and we've been fighting this battle that was called that as if if Congress is leading in 41. There are some polls that showed them some 17 number. I mean, from 17 to 41, that means the people have accepted them. You can't fool the people all the time.
You could have done better if they'd actually fought a united campaign. That's the point, isn't it?
They did, no?
Where?
Because they did.
Well,
that's why.
Is there a different Maharashtra campaign that you saw?
No, see, I'll tell you what. Wherever I was on the ground, the Congress has been with us together. We fought this battle together, and that's what these numbers are showing. I've been out in the field. I know what is happening, and they fought with us.
Actually, there wasn't one joint rally that the Congress and NCP held at the level of its top leadership.
Vasu. We had. I've been to the rally in Mumbai. There were so many joint rallies that we've been to.
No, at the top leadership.
Sharad Pawar,
at the
Rahul
top,
Gandhi,
at the level of the top leadership.
Sonia Gandhi, yeah.
Well, Pawar Sahib and Rahul Gandhi, their times may have not matched, but there are other leaders from Maharashtra who've been all together. They've been there at rallies.
Okay.
It's out there.
On that note, have to take a break. Ask everyone to stay with us. We will be back in just a couple of minutes as those results unfold and government formation now picks up.
Welcome back. You're watching this special broadcast right here on NDTV. I'm broadcasting live from Mumbai, epicenter Mumbai, and we are at present outside the BJP headquarters, which as of now, one was expecting that the jubilation, the excitement will take over this entire place. So far, these chairs, maybe what the Bharatiya Janata Party is doing as of this moment is waiting and watching as to how the results unfold, because as far as their own calculation is concerned, this seems to have been lacking somewhere. They may have perhaps not been able to perform as well as they were thinking. There was a great buzz around the Shiv Sena BJP alliance crossing the 200 mark. Well, that as of now in these trends has not happened. Now, there was also another buzz which people have been speaking about. Of course, many have ridiculed this as street wisdom, or raw wisdom as they say, but the Shiv Sena, there was talk that perhaps the Congress, in its effort to keep the BJP at bay, will look for an opportunity like this to offer the Shiv Sena the lead role, and then the Congress and the NCP support from behind. Now this is slightly far-fetched politically. Remember the political ideological fault lines between the Congress, NCP and the Shiv Sena. But then the Shiv Sena has clarified its official position. It seems as of this moment that the junior ally in this equation is now not so junior anymore. The Shiv Sena will expect equality in the relationship with the Bharatiya Janata Party. We spoke just a short while ago with Sanjay Raut of the Shiv Sena, and this is what he had to say.
देखो, शिवसेना बीजेपी का ही सरकार बनेगा, उसमें कोई दो राय नहीं। दोनों मिलकर हम सरकार बनाएंगे। बहुमत पूरा मिला है। कुछ सीटें आगे पीछे होती है चुनाव में, उसमें हम अभी उद्धव जी से बात करेंगे, उद्धव जी मुख्यमंत्री बात करेंगे, और जो तय हुआ है चुनाव से पहले 50-50।
So that's the Shiv Sena for you. That's talking about equality, a 50-50 relationship. What does this mean? As of this moment, the trends suggest that there are many big upsets for the Bharatiya Janata Party. So they don't have that sort of a bargaining chip that initially one thought they would all through yesterday. Their party president is trailing. Pankaja Munde, a tall leader, is trailing. And one of the descendants of Chhatrapati Shivaji, Udayan Raje, who contested in a by-election from Satara, in Lok Sabha by-election, is also trailing, and that's a very interesting fact. The other descendant, Shivendra Raje, is actually winning from Satara. So, big upsets as far as the BJP is concerned, but let's not take this away from them, that the incumbents could well be on their way of coming back to power again. The BJP Shiv Sena combined could come back to power again in the state of Maharashtra, of course with a slightly muted mandate. We are stopping for a short break at this moment, but this election coverage will continue on the other side.
How interesting is this election turning out to be? We are already now moving away from just counting numbers to actually the jor-tor behind the scenes negotiations that always happens when the mandate, the results are not quite clear. In Maharashtra, it appears to be clear. It appears to be very much the BJP-Sena in pole position, but already is the Sena, given the fact that it's outperforming the BJP, starting to flex its muscles. Our colleague Sohit joins us from Matoshi, the Thackeray residence. Sohit, what are you hearing? That the Sena is now trying to demand a bigger share of the pie in the future alliance government?
Well, that's right, Vasu. We just spoke with Sanjay Raut, who is the spokesperson of Shiv Sena. While he said that they will be forming the government along with the BJP, he said that they will ensure that they get the 50-50 formula that was decided before the elections as well. Now, what we have been hearing is that Sachin Sawant, who is the spokesperson of Congress...
Sorry, just a second. So, when you say 50-50, what do you mean? 50% of seats in the share of the cabinet?
Well, that's right. That is what the Shiv Sena has been demanding, that for 2.5 years they should have the chief minister post as well as for the next
rotating chief ministership.
This is what the...
They're talking of 50-50 like rotating chief ministership.
Rotating chief minister power as well as proper equal distribution of other cabinet seats as well. This is what the Shiv Sena has been demanding before the elections, and this is what Sanjay Raut has also said while going and visiting the Thackeray's. Now, this all began when Sachin Sawant, who is the spokesperson of Congress, tweeted saying that their aim is to ensure that the BJP stays out of power. Now, everyone knows that Shiv Sena also has close ties with the NCP. The day when Ajit Pawar organized a press conference and he cried when there were allegations against him of doing a corruption worth 25,000 crore rupees. Even that day, Sanjay Raut visited the Sharad Pawar's residence in Mumbai, and they had a brief conversation over that as well. So while it has been, they were saying that the Shiv Sena, Congress and NCP could come together, Sanjay Raut today said that they will be forming the government with the BJP. But now there are several questions arising. Now that the Shiv Sena has...
No, sorry, I'm just to come in on that. Is that just sort of posturing, frankly, by the Shiv Sena, trying to sort of flex its muscle, play hardball, hold out these threats, say, ki, the numbers do add up for them. Yes, I'm not saying that they don't, but the BJP is, clearly far ahead in terms of being the single largest party there. There's an old alliance with the BJP. So is this just the Shiv Sena basically trying to extract whatever it can get from the BJP?
Well, BJP might be the single largest party as of now in the state, but they can't form the government without Shiv Sena's support. On the other hand, if you look at the figures right now, Shiv Sena along with the Congress and NCP could form the government. So, and throughout the election, what we saw is that the BJP kept on underestimating Shiv Sena's power. First, they said that they have decided equal distribution of seats. Later, we came to know that Shiv Sena will be contesting on 124 seats, whereas the BJP will be contesting on more than 160 seats. So there have been several such issues in which they have had their differences, and now that Shiv Sena is in power to bargain, they are doing it. But there are several questions. So what will happen with the RA issue? There are differences between the BJP and Sena regarding the RA issue as well. There are several other issues. So it will be interesting to see that what happens next. What is the deal that is being sealed between the BJP as well as the Sena?
Okay. Look, I mean, thanks, Suat. Look, a couple of things. I mean, I think this is this is sort of kite flying taken to the extreme. We have to take the fact that it is Sanjay Raut saying this with a pinch of salt, because he's known to often float theories just to kind of muddy the waters.
And make life in TV studios
but
a little more
it's the BJP
interesting.
at 98, Shiv Sena at 64. The idea of 50-50 is a bit unrealistic, or the idea of some kind of parallel coalition coming up, also highly, highly unrealistic at the moment.
So we just want to go across to Mr. D.P. Tripathi of the NCP joining us from Mumbai, or I don't know, actually he could be in Delhi as well. But Mr. Tripathi, good morning to you. Can you just sort of weigh in on this kite flying that the NCP may actually reach out to the Shiv Sena, or has?
No. See, our position is very clear. People of Maharashtra have given their clear perspective on these elections. We are leading in 53 seats and a little more. Congress is leading in 41 seats, and that's the mandate of the people in Maharashtra. So, and Sena has already announced that they will form the government with BJP. BJP-Sena will form the government together in Maharashtra. That is what Mr. Sanjay Raut, who is a very senior leader of the Sena, has already announced. So there seems to be no confusion there. Why create confusion here? I don't understand.
I think that's something which actually is what the Sena does very well. And that's one of the reasons why the BJP has actually struggled with having this frenemy. The Sena is supposedly the ally, but actually it's been more of a thorn in the flesh. But I think the point here is that the BJP, because they've fallen under 100, I mean, they're still hovering at 98, 99. I think psychologically, that's one of the reasons why now you're seeing so much of this noise coming their way.
I think, psychologically, it is a hit if they end up at 100 from 122 when they fought separately.
Yes.
In alliance, they can't get 120.
Yeah.
I think morale-wise, it's bad news. And the Shiv Sena is, I think the Shiv Sena is desperately hoping for this news. It allows it to get a little bit more, push a little bit more.
Net, wake-up call for the BJP in Maharashtra and Haryana. Article 370 is not going to bring you the big victory. Local issues do matter.
Well, again, I just wonder if I can push back on that a bit, because if you imagine this election without Article 370, suppose you didn't have that additional tailwind, where would the BJP be?
That's a counterfactual.
Well, but then, we don't know that.
I don't know, but I'm just
then they would have
it.
spoken about something else, which might have produced a different result.
Also, there were surveys in which just 3% of those surveyed in Haryana put 370 as number one. So the others had unemployment, price rise, job quota, etc., things like that. So only 3%. I don't know if it was worth doing so much in Kashmir, and even today we have to face such international comment, as well as what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Kashmir.
No, but I'm saying look at it from the BJP's point of view,
I think
that
that's
having
what
that
Smita was
Kashmir
saying
card,
earlier.
having the
Was the
Kashmir
only
card,
card,
having Mr. Modi and Amit Shah come in with all those tailwinds was possibly something they needed even to get up to here.
I think what would worry the BJP
imagine without that.
Actually,
what if they
Rajnath
actually
Singh,
come out with solid economic construction program?
I'm just going to say that Rajnath Singh will be able to answer this the best. He held about 15 rallies, even talked about Rafale that he received during this with Nimbu and
He
Mirchi.
talked about breaking up Pakistan. He talked about a lot of.
So
he was the hawk in this campaign.
Yes.
But having said that, I wonder if the BJP will be a little concerned today that there was this last-minute push by Mr. Modi, Smita, in Haryana, for example. I think you did a breakup of the rallies, Vasu. That there were additional rallies that the PM planned for Haryana in particular. There are seats in Maharashtra, for instance, where Pankaja Munde is trailing right now, where both Amit Shah and Mr. Modi campaigned, and she is trailing at the moment. So, will there, you think, be a little bit of concern that invincibility is no longer there, that perceived invincibility?
I do think so, because this tells you that the BJP has to do more on the real issues on the ground. Whether it's the economy, whether it's farmers' distress, and it's possibly only these national issues that have managed to keep it afloat. Without it, I think they would have sunk. No, and one survey that was done, which I read about somewhere, which said that more than 50% of the people wanted to vote against the BJP.
Right, the C-voter survey.
But they said that they didn't know who to vote for.
They're dissatisfied.
So it's also
and as you pointed out, Vasu, we are in the middle of a serious economic crisis.
Yes.
So naturally, there is a spillover into the electoral arena.
I guess to say that 370 was the saddle on which we crossed over the boundary mark, the middle mark, may be too far-sighted or too exaggerated, because, let me just, because the reason is, voters on the ground, when they vote at state levels, they are very clear in differentiating issues. Ultimately, the voters' issue before him was whether I should continue with this party or not, irrespective of 370, irrespective of various other issues at the national level. So,
you kept raising
the voters'
it,
decision.
Your leadership kept raising it, regardless of what voters opted for.
Well, even if we may have raised
it, theme of the Prime Minister's
even if we
campaign,
may have raised it, I am looking at the other argument, that if the economy was so torn up, like the panelists are projecting, if the economy was so torn up, we would also be torn up. The BJP would also be torn up in these two states. But that is not happening.
You can't be pleased with the outcome.
That is not happening.
You can't be pleased with Haryana.
That is not happening because
You've taken
we need to
understand
the mind of the Aam Aadmi here, the common voter who is voting there.
But isn't it a wake-up call for you?
Of course. we will definitely look at it as a wake-up call. But the Aam Aadmi, what moved the Aam Aadmi into bringing back BJP almost in Haryana and very comfortably in Maharashtra is that the confidence factor that you are getting from the BJP today, which other parties are not able to give.
But Vivek, again, I think the mistake that you guys keep making is that you keep suggesting that the economic downturn is something which is some kind of projection by your, anti-BJP or this is some kind
Khan
of
market gang.
Yeah, these are real. These are RBI numbers. These are growth numbers put out by by the finance ministry. So these are your own numbers.
The question I am asking is, well, there has been a world downturn. In the backdrop of the world downturn,
no,
there has been a slight.
I'm just saying the downturn is not the conjuring up by some kind of anti-BJP consensus.
Again, the Indian voter.
These are official statistics. That's all.
Again, the Indian voter does not seem to have the perception of our panelists.
Right.
The reason being that economy has performed well for some years, and there might be a bump, an intermittent bump. Now, some doomsdayers are saying, look here, this intermittent bump is everything. We are finished and gone. We are in a tailspin, to use those words.
No,
but actually, the Indian voter has decided in these past 2 elections, both in the Lok Sabha and the state, that this is not a tailspin. We have confidence in this government. This is an intermittent bump. This is the final decision of the voter.
Yes, Gilles, and then we have to take a break.
The Prime Minister's own, some of his own, economic advisors point that there are structural factors behind, a more long-term, economic downturn. That you don't have as many people entering into the middle class as you've had, in the previous decade.
Sure.
And so to present it as a bump is actually quite, disingenuous.
Okay.
In Haryana, where we are, joblessness is, of course, a very important issue, but the precariousness of existing jobs